How about this part of the world, the Rochford area? What does it mean to you?
The Rochford area is much a part of my family life, which to me, family life is the most important thing. I don't like to see what they're doing now, trying to keep things as they were 100 years ago. I think that they should allow things to progress. It's very nice to see places, the town of Rochford, I think. The things, South Street looks very nice, some of North Street, but I think it should be allowed to grow. It should be allowed to have some of today's architecture as well as the past. Otherwise, what are future generations going to know about us? I don't feel... I've always felt that I would like to move away from Rochford. But I don't suppose I ever will now. I don't feel that it is the family ties, and it is what makes me stay. I can't say that I've really got anything about particularly Rochford and the town that would say, oh, you know, you wouldn't want to move away because of something that is so nice. So, yeah, there's lots of nice things. And I don't like to live in the past. I do like to live in the future. What they've done with the freight house and the reservoir, it all looks very, very nice, and I think it looks lovely, particularly if you go down there in the winter, in the evening, just as it's getting dusk, and it looks beautiful. But I've also got lots of very fond memories of that as it used to be. Used to go down, and by the freight house there was a big field, go and stand by the gate with my grandfather, and we'd watch the hares running around in the field just as it was getting dusk. So it was still a nice place then. But I feel that the heart's gone out of Rochford. It used to be a really thriving town, and now it's just a commuter area. So everybody commutes, so there's nothing to hold people together. It's always been a funny place to get anything going with the community. People try, they have the carnival, they have things that go on in the square, medieval weekends. It's really, really hard work to get anybody to participate in these events and things. Again, I think it's just there is no heart to the town anymore.
So tell me about when Rochford was a thriving small market town. The farmers would come. I think it was quite a large market town, actually, second to Chelmsford probably. And the farmers would come from, on Thursdays the market was, they would bring, the cattle would come in by rail a lot of the time, into what is now the freight house, and the cattle would, I can remember them coming down and droving the cattle from the freight house along the street
Very often quite exciting. If there was, they would try and get away, the cattle would run amok and everybody would be running hither and thither trying to get them together. They used to have, the sheep would always come in lorries, and it was really bustling. The pubs, got a lot of pubs in Rochford, but they were always very, very busy on a Thursday. They kept open till 4 o'clock in the afternoon. The licensing hours were so different then, because they can open all day now, can't they? But in those days, I can't remember the licensing hours. But the farmers would come, their wives would come. The wives would come and bring their chickens and their eggs, and they would be sold in the back lane at the back of the King's Head. There was a big yard that was stables, and that was where the poultry market was. And as children, we just loved it. You'd go along and you'd see all the bulls and the cows all tied up along the rail, and the sheep in the pens, and every Thursday, it didn't matter what you were doing, you always gravitated to the town centre. And that's, the market, I can't remember when it was, it must have been the late 50s, I think, when the market ceased to be in Rochford, the cattle market, because my son remembers going up there to the but that's really was the start of the decline of Rochford as a town. Still is a town. It's not a village. Its official title is town. That came about many years previously. The bells that are now in St Mary's Church in Prittlewell originated in Rochford Church, and Prittlewell was the town. This was before Southend was made a borough, before. The bells from Rochford Church were sold to Prittlewell in exchange for the status of becoming a town. This is history that I've always been told about. Whether it's true fact or not, I really wouldn't like to say. But something that we've always been brought up to believe is true.